We just finished a successful renewal negotiation for a client who had been represented by another tenant rep broker before and had a bad experience 5 years ago and had the attitude that really landlords don't have any particular motivation to renew tenants. I explained that we could change that perception and we were successful in doing that. And the way we did it was we explained to the client and ultimately to the landlord the economics of renewing are magnitudes better than losing them as a tenant and trying to refill the space. And here's kind of the interesting economics. In today's world, best case scenarios are that if a tenant leaves, the landlord might have to spend the next 6 months finding a replacement tenant. Once they find that replacement tenant, then it takes 4 months or thereabouts to negotiate the lease, design the space, build it, and have the tenant move in. So 10 months goes by of no rent for the landlord. Then they give typically 3 months free rent for the new tenant to move in. So now the landlord has gone 13 months, just a little over a year without rent to get a replacement tenant. Then they give say a $35 tenant improvement allowance. And so now the free rent, which is worth $30, and the tenant improvement allowance, which is worth $35, means they've spent $65 a square foot to get a new tenant. The time to recoup that in years of rent at $28 a square foot is 2.3 years. So if you do a 5-year lease, the landlord is in the middle of that term really before they're in the black. There's also a worst case scenario that says it takes 12 months to find a new tenant, 6 months to build out the space. So there's 18 months of no rent, then 6 months of free rent. So now they've gone to the equivalent of 2 years without rent. And then they have to give a $50 allowance. Now they've got the equivalent of $106 a square foot that they've spent or lost in the way of rent, which means that it's 3.8 years out before the landlord is back in the black. Conversely, the deal that we negotiated for our tenant, which involved free rent, a refurbishment allowance of $20 a square foot, means that the landlord was in the black at the end of year 1, and our client got a far more favorable deal than they were paying prior to the renewal.